Hey guys, it's Spilly and welcome back to Spill Sesh. Now, there's nothing wrong with change. Sometimes change is good, but sometimes when a YouTuber changes, it can be really shocking for the audience. And let me tell you, when Jake Paul went from being Disney Channel PG to rated R, I think everyone was taken aback. And it happened so suddenly that everyone is very confused. So if you guys have been paying any attention to Jake Paul recently, his posts on Instagram, including his YouTube videos, have just been very X-rated. Like, I wouldn't even say rated R. I'm talking rated X, because there's stuff on here that I just can't even show you guys. Like, we're talking pixelated the house, you guys, because I just can't even believe that this is a thing. Like, if I was a 13-year-old child that was watching Jake Paul, I'm sure my mom would take my phone and ground me immediately for thinking I was watching a site I wasn't supposed to be on, because that's exactly what it looks like watching Jake Paul's vlogs these days. Now, this has always been a debate when it came to Jake and Logan, although I think Logan has completely escaped that since his scandal, but there has always been talk about how these two brothers would post content that attracted children audiences, but probably shouldn't be something that kids are watching because of the things that they're saying and the things that they're doing, and no one ever wanted kids to think that what they were doing was okay, because a lot of the behavior was destructive and just not anything a child should be influenced by. But as of recent, it's become very clear that Jake is trying to shed this kid-friendly audience and try and be more mature. And I personally don't think that there's anything wrong with changing your content. Everybody is allowed to grow up. We all know a lot of Disney stars go through their quote-unquote like bad phase, just like how Miley went through her whole wrecking ball phase. We all have seen it before. But I'm seeing a lot of backlash on Jake's videos because he went from PG to XXX, and he is getting a really hard time because people don't want 13-year-old kids to be watching his content still thinking that he's the same Jake. So I wanted to talk about it with you guys because I've seen a lot of people commenting about it and just like making it publicly known that they're not happy with the way that Jake Paul is changing. One, just because it's like so extreme and like nobody wants to see his butt cheeks, and also because his kid audience is still very much there and he's kind of denying it right now. But we all know where Jake Paul got his start from, and that was basically making like kid-friendly content. The Team 10 house was definitely directed at children, and I thought at one point children did live at the Team 10 house, like actual children. And I don't know when they moved out or if they even moved out, but like this is not the house that they should be raised in at this point. So a lot of people are questioning what's really going on, because this is definitely not content that his kid fans should be seeing in any form of way. For a while there, kid-friendly content was some of the most monetized and profitable content on this platform. And most of the people that wanted to attract children would have super bright, colorful thumbnails and crazy clickbait titles. And that's exactly what Jake and Logan's content really was, and they were doing like really dumb pranks and funny little skits in their vlogs. But as of recent, it has just been clear that if you're making content towards children, your content might not be monetized with these new rules that they have. So I think that played a very big part in Jake wanting to change the way his channel was. I think the part that's really confusing people is that it's not like Jake ever formally came out and said that he was making this kid-friendly content and now all of a sudden he's going to be making some more mature content because he was growing, he wanted the channel to grow. I think the confusion lies in the fact that he never really said that. I think because of the changes being so drastic, a warning kind of was a little necessary. At least from what I can see in the comments, a warning would have been kind of nice, because he's just getting ripped apart for people fearing that children will come and click and see things that they should not be exposed to. Now, although I personally am of age and would not actually watch this Jake Paul content for fun because it is just really X-rated and I'm just really not into that. But I do think that it's more of a parent's responsibility to watch what their children are watching, and if their kids are making accounts on YouTube that say they're older than they are so they can watch content like this, that's not something Jake can personally prevent. But I do see how it is irresponsible to know that you have 20 million subscribers, and most of which are probably children, and still post this stuff. If he did come out with a video prior to all of these changes saying there are going to be some changes or something titled like that and explaining that his content won't be kid friendly anymore, I think it could have prevented a lot of confusion. We'll talk about it more later, but Jake is denying the amount of kids that are actually watching his content. But in one of his more recent videos, he does give a warning to kids that they should just go watch Ryan's Choice, but it's like about 1 minute and 30 seconds in, after a bunch of inappropriate stuff has already been said and done, and he's already cursed a bunch. And in the more recent videos, the 18 and older warning isn't coming up, but there is a different warning that is showing up. Like his most recent one had this warning in the beginning of it. It was Jake singing the Carol Baskin song from TikTok and shooting a gun into the air aimlessly. And he put, "Warning, please be warned, under no circumstances should any activity, stunts, or pranks in our content be replicated or attempted in any capacity by any of our viewers. All activities, stunts, and pranks are performed by trained professionals in a controlled environment and are for entertainment purposes only. Again, do not replicate anything you see in our content at home." So suddenly Jake is a trained professional, I guess. Anyways, this is what his content has become. It's kind of like Jack. If you guys ever saw that or seen anything from that show, I feel as though, and a lot of the people that I've been friends with and talked to feel as though this is what Jake's content is starting to become. And it's kind of true. Like, all of his videos are him just doing really dumb things and then tasing his friends and then getting nude. I don't know what to even process, but that is sort of what his videos have become. Obviously, his most recent video definitely didn't look kid friendly by the thumbnail. I can't even show you the thumbnail because it just seems like all gets demonetized, and he titled it Rated R, which just told me everything that I needed to know, because that video definitely needed a big warning in the title. But it seems to me that this was a risk that Jake was willing to take in changing his content. It's harder for a YouTuber to get away from a certain audience than it is for any other type of celebrity, because they can just go from being on the Disney Channel to being on MTV. But when you're a YouTuber, you're on the same platform for as long as you want to be a YouTuber. So if you want to change your content up, it's kind of a risk that you have to take, that you're going to lose a lot of your audience members' support. Just don't let your kids watch this stuff and we'll all be okay. Now, someone did try to call Jake out about his content being related to children, and he clapped back. It was a little controversial, but they said, "This dude entertains kids. This dude always has swarms of kids outside his house." Jake replied to him and said, "Imagine being as stupid as you are. I wish I could wake up and be a sheep. People grow up. My audience is 18 to 24. You're an ignorant critic who has never accomplished anything. Try having a belly laugh or getting laid, buddy. I bet you haven't in a while." So I totally understand that kids do grow up, but at the same time, Jake's content has just always been towards children, and I just don't think that his audience was growing up at the speed of lightning. This whole thing is just very conflicting. It's one thing to post like more adult content where you're doing pranks and stuff that kids shouldn't be seeing or being influenced by, but to post like completely like nude stuff all of a sudden is so crazy. He posted a photo where you can see the girl's top half basically exposed because his fingers were not covering what was supposed to be covered. And honestly, it was like a little funny because Keemstar kind of called him out for like his feet looking a little dirty or whatever. But anyways, I just feel like not a lot of people do well with change, and especially when you're trying to change different audience age groups, things can get really dicey and really messy. He has 20 million subscribers, and I don't think all of them are actually adults. So it is a little concerning to know that children will be exposed to this kind of content, because it's nothing that anyone should be seeing that is under the age of 18. Let me know how you guys personally feel about all the changes that are being made, how you feel about kids potentially being exposed to this. Are you guys upset? Are you blaming Jake for any children seeing this? How do you think he should handle it or have handled it? Let me know in the comments down below, and I'll talk to you guys in my next video. Bye, guys.